Okay, so I talked about the 5 levels of ability. It's one of my important teachings, and this applies to the stock market, applies to business, applies to any field. Any field basically is a 5 levels of ability. And the first level is called the novice. Okay, go ahead. It's called the novice, and the novice is like entry level. They don't really know what they're doing. Novice also, they wouldn't admit that they don't know what they're doing. They don't know whether what they're doing or they're not doing. They don't have the knowledge. They don't know how to really perform their job. They're learning. They got to be trained. They're novice. So a novice won't know like how to trade that $100 stock unless he can study the channels, unless he gets a feel for the stock. You said 4%, 2%, up and out 4%, down and out 2%. Well, he's not going to know when to get out or when to get in because he's not going to have any kind of feel for the stock. He's not going to know what he's doing. So he'll probably lose money because he's just kind of like, that's kind of random. People say, oh, stocks are random. They're not really random, but for a novice, they're kind of random because he doesn't understand what's happening.
Right.
Once you pass the novice level, you have the agents. Now, the agents know how to do their job. They know the field, they know the business. But not enough to teach it. Just enough to get by to do it. Any big corporation is going to be thronged with agents that do their job. That's the backbone. Any field, big corporation, that's like the worker bee. And that kind of person is trading stocks. They might say, oh, I know how to trade stocks. Yeah, I have an account. Teaching my trade some stocks. I got an option today. It's like, okay. But they're not going to be able to handle problems when they come up. They're not going to be ready for the pitfalls because they're just an agent. And the third level is an adept. Now, an adept in the field knows the business in and out. An adept also knows the 5 levels of ability. They know that there's a novice, they know there's an agent, they know there's an adept. And the adepts are like the managers, the supervisors. They can handle shit. They can take care of problems. An adept also can replace somebody that's out, that's sick, because they can do other people's job, because they know their job. An adept in the stock market is going to be able to make money consistently. They'll lose money. They might get sloppy. They might miss a trend. Might have some emotional issues. They trade badly. Miss emotional issues, but they're going to handle problems. They can teach it. They know their business. They can teach the business. They can teach subordinates. They can train people, mentor. Okay. Not very many adepts. A lot of times, people say, "Oh, this is an excellent doctor. This is a great market manager." They're talking about an adept. The goal in life would be to retire as an adept, because that way you're excellent, you're good. Above the adept, you have a champion. A champion is a person who just has the skills that, for whatever reason, are so high that you can't even really rate them. They just have an intuitive sixth sense to do stuff. It could be a physical thing, like a basketball player, Michael Jordan. There's no discrepancy. He'd be a champion in this field. Now, he really can't teach people to be like him. He can teach people to be like him, but they're not really going to be like him. It's like, you can think of it like a God-given talent, a birthright, things like this. Einstein would be a champion in his field, right? Of physics and mathematics and all, and that whole thing. Can't teach that either, but they're just tremendously good at what they do. Very few champions in any field, maybe 1% to 3%. People can ever become a champion. And there's really 2 ways that people become champions. One, they're just gifted. They just have it, the knack. Some people just have a knack for trading. They can just do it. Other people can't. And they don't really have to study that much. It just comes to them. You know how people can get A's at school and not really do any homework, not even pay attention? Other people have to I have to hit those books to have out a test. I hit those books. So that's one way to be a champion. Another way to be a champion is you start at the adept level, and you just have to have arduous training. years and years, decades of it sometimes, and you get good. But you're still not going to be Michael Jordan, but you can still handle things. And the last level is the veteran. And the veteran is an interesting level because it's kind of like a person who's like semi-retired, to where they understand all the levels. They can train them. They can mentor even champions, but they might not operate on the champion level. Example, you guys know chess? This guy Kasparov, right? He's like the main chess guy. He's like the grandmaster, the highest rated grandmaster. He'd be a champion in his field, of course. But then he also has a mentor teacher that teaches him, that he trains with. Now the teacher, interestingly enough, doesn't play at the high level that Kasparov plays. Okay, so the Kasparov would likely be his teacher, but the teacher has the wisdom that he can apply, that can mentor Kasparov to do better, even though the teacher doesn't even play at that level anymore, or maybe he did it one time. So while you have a champion, you have somebody who can mentor a champion, which is a veteran, and the veterans often could be teachers. Sometimes they're retired. They know all the 5 levels of ability like the back of their hands. They can teach it. They're really the only people that qualify to teach the champions. And often, if they're successful veterans, they can move champions to their cause. Like a successful veteran might be able to, maybe you could say Phil Jackson can train Michael Jordan to do better. Yes?
Right.
But Phil Jackson's not going to be able to slam dunking, right?
Right.
So that's the example there. So in the stock market, you have levels of ability. And if you're at the novice level, you're not really going to know anything. That is gambling. Once you get to the agent, I could buy stock, I can trade an option. Then we might get to the adept level, where we're going to make money consistently. We know how to do it. And the other levels come. We'll see if they come. And close it there.